All right, welcome back, folks, to another session. And this session is somewhat of a preview. In fact, if you like what you see here, make sure you go to watch the whole movie, essentially signing up for his workshop or maybe even hire him. Because in this amazing session, I've got Lidor here to share a real world use case of running hundreds of CI pipelines per day on very lightweight Kubernetes, aka K3s. Lidor, take it away.
Hi, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining my session. Um, I prepared an amazing session for you and a huge presentation. I'm going to share it now, share my screen so you can see what I'm seeing. And okay, here we go. I hope you can see my screen. Hope it's not white. It's okay, and that you can see my screen fine. Um, Great. So I will talk about a little bit about myself and then we will start with the session. Please don't get out from the session until the end. It's only 45 minutes. There is a live demo, code samples. You don't want to miss this. So please stay here. Okay? Okay, let's get started. So, a few words about me, those who don't know me. It's my first time here on the DevOps Pro Europe, so thanks for the organizer of having me here. I'm a DevOps team leader. I'm an experienced trainer. I teach a lot of DevOps in Israel, and and everyone can invite me to train your people if you want or yourselves. And I'm very available on LinkedIn and on Twitter, so you can contact me there. I'm highly skilled in Kubernetes, AWS, Docker, also certified in AWS as AWS solution architect, and also know Jenkins quite a bit. Okay, that was a little few words about me. Like was said before, I'm actually looking for a job, so you can hire me. I'm very free. So let's talk about Kubernetes. Now everyone is talking about Kubernetes. Let's just define it so we can get it out of the way because we are not actually talking about the whole session about Kubernetes. We're talking about K3s. That's what you came here to hear. So we'll start with Kubernetes. What is Kubernetes? Just to get it out of the way, Kubernetes, we all heard of it, right? So, what is it actually? It's a portable, extensible open source platform for managing containerized workloads and services that facilitates both declarative configuration and automation. Wow, this is what like major stuff, right? It has a large, rapidly growing ecosystem. Kubernetes services, supports, and tools are widely available. Meaning they have like a whole community about it. Everyone is knowing about Kubernetes and can help you out and stuff like that, right?
Lidor,
Yeah.
Little, sorry to interrupt. Can you just reshare the screen? It looks like you've got the screen with a note showing instead.
Whoa, that's not good. Okay, thank you for noticing. I didn't see that coming. Share
No
my
problem.
screen again. Okay, that's very technical stuff. Let's see. You can see this maybe. Okay, you can see this.
Yep, that looks like the correct one. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so you miss all the effects.
Yeah,
Okay.
apologies for that.
So, okay, I'm sorry. So Kubernetes, like I said, I'm not gonna repeat that. Is a portable, extensible open source platform. Yeah, right. So we all heard that, right? We all heard what is Kubernetes, and we know now what is Kubernetes. But yeah. What we don't say is that Kubernetes is overhead expensive, like and needs expertise to master. Like you need to have like very technical learning curve and have to master all of the technologies and all of the platform and add-ons that you put on it. And it's a lot of things to know, right? And it's overhead expensive because you need like to have a lot of workloads and a lot of compute and memory and storage and stuff like that, right? That's what they don't say about Kubernetes, and we can say it. It's okay. It's one of the problems that Kubernetes. It's one of the challenges that Kubernetes has on their day-to-day usage. So like every DevOps says to himself, if I build Kubernetes, they will come, right? It's a sentence from a movie that I like. I think A Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner from the 90s, right? I'm from that year, so that's okay. So if you didn't see the movie, it's not such a great movie, but still like that. It's like that sentence. Everyone is laughing about it. So if you build it, they will come. Who will come? The developers, of course. They will come and want resources from you, right? So that's what every DevOps says to itself, that if I build Kubernetes, they will come. And that's great. But let me show you about K3s. So just to define the name of Kubernetes or the K8s, what it actually means, it means it originates from Greek, meaning the helmsman or pilot. Here is me, right? The rights keeper for shipping Kubernetes. This is from KubeCon, I think, 3 years ago that I was there. And I look a little bit thinner then, but that's okay. So I'm the rights keeper for shipping Kubernetes. Yeah, you need to have skills like me to ship Kubernetes correct, the right way, the correct way. And that's not the point. The point is let say no to Kubernetes and say yes to K3s. So what is K3s? What is K3s then? Well, K3s is a project that delivers a lightweight yet powerful certified Kubernetes distribution designed for production workloads across resource restraint. I mean, I don't have a lot of resources. I'm running it on Raspberry or something like that. Yeah, I can run Kubernetes or K3s, for example, on that Raspberry. I don't need like resources, like a lot of resources from AWS or VM or virtual machines. I don't need that. I can do that on remote location. I can put K3s on a gas station and it will work fine, right? On a gas station, like lead a computer, like very mini PC, and put that Kubernetes on it with like 50, 100 megs of memory, and it will work, right? So sounds sweet. What is the catch? Okay, where is the catch? Well, there is no catch. K3s is capable of nearly everything Kubernetes has to offer, meaning that you can write your own manifest normally, and it's highly possible that you can apply them to either a fully fledged Kubernetes cluster or K3s cluster for that example. So if you write things for K3s, you don't have to rewrite them for Kubernetes. Well, everyone says, I don't believe it. Well, believe you and me, believe me, you must, right? I'm going to show it to you. So what else about K3s? What else can you tell me, Lidor? So in K3s, there is no hardware constraint. It can run anywhere, which means show me how. Show me how it can run anywhere. So in a minute, I will show you. Okay, in a minute, I will show you what you're gonna ask me what's gonna happen in a minute. I'm gonna show you exactly how I'm gonna run K3s on a machine in a 5 minutes install or 1 minute install. Okay, I will provision K3s for you, and I'm gonna show you. And this is not a live demo. This is just an example how I can simply install in one command the whole K3s cluster. So another thing about K3s before I'll show you the installment is there is a huge learning curve in Kubernetes, right? When we talk about Kubernetes, we have to learn like 6 months, maybe a year, getting certified about Kubernetes, right? And getting to work with it in order to get the experience, right? So in K3s, you don't need that. You don't need a lot of time to learn how to set up K3s. You just need 5 minutes, one command, and you run the K3s cluster. You don't need to know all the components that Kubernetes has in order to master on K3s. Okay, I just want to kickstart my journey on K3s. Just one command, and I'm started. That's it. So let's see some commands. Show me what you're gonna do. So I'm gonna set up one simple master node cluster. Okay, K3s is capable of having a multi-master setup for high availability, but I'm not gonna show that now. I'm just gonna show you one simple master. There are several ways to set up K3s, like a lot of things online that you can find. I'm doing the most straightforward, the official way, and I'm gonna run the command on a master node. This is the command. You can snap it, you can picture it. You also have the presentation slides in the Pine session. Okay, so you can find it over there. So you have that command. I'm going to show it to you live, so you can snap it, picture it, and then use it on your own journey with K3s if you want to test it out. And you are good to go. So this is the command. Just one command, and it's installed. I'm going to install it on Ubuntu 24. LTS, right? So it's empty. I don't have Docker in there. I just launched it. I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna how I'm going to install K3s. And if you want other nodes to join the cluster, like maybe you want to do highly available multi-master setup for the K3s, then you can use that command. Okay, when you put on my server, you put the IP of the server of the K3s, and you put a token that you have to get, right? So that is the command that you do for joining other nodes. So I'm going to stop my screen, stop my presentation. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to run the first command to install the K3s, so you can do it while you're seeing the session, because I'm going to do another live demo after that for something that more complex, something that you came to see, right? So let's stop here. Let's go to my browser. I think you can see it. And I have instances over here. And I have this instance, which is a Ubuntu that I just installed, just launched, right? It's an empty Ubuntu. I'm going to show you. I'm going to connect to it. It's a private IP address, so it's not doesn't connect directly from the internet. I have to go like a Bastion, Jambox to SSH to that server, because it's more secure that way, right? So this is my terminal. I hope you can see it. There is no technical problems. I'm gonna do SSH, okay, to that IP through the Bastion. Very nice way to connect it more securely with my key to that box. That's how I work all the time. Okay, I think something nasty happened, because I have like problem with my known host, because maybe or someone already tried to connect to it, maybe me. Okay, so now it's okay. I can connect. Yeah, I'm inside. Let's see. See, nothing happens. Everything is okay. Wait for it. Inside. What's going on? Why there is not connecting? Okay, let's see. Wait for it. I hope everything is okay. Hold on, maybe I have problems here. I will fix it. No problem. It seems to be okay. Yes, SSH only. Not supposed to have problems. Should be connecting. What happened? I'm not connecting. Did I pick the wrong one? Let's see. No, this is okay. Okay, maybe I have problem here. I'm gonna change that. Hold on. We fix this. Could be problem, right? Hold on. Anyway, right, let's do this. Fix this. Now it's okay. Hope I didn't change my IP. Okay, now it's connecting. Great. Okay, so I have my Ubuntu. This is Ubuntu. Let's do uptime. Let's see. You see the app. It's up like 2 hours. That's great. So now I can install the K3s on that Ubuntu. So all I need to do is put the command. What command? The command that I just showed you on the presentation, the curl, right? -sfl, get K3s, and that's it. And it will be installed in 5 minutes or 4 minutes. You're gonna wait for it, and you have fully fledged K3s cluster on that Ubuntu. You don't need to do anything. You don't have to install more stuff. You don't have to install Docker. You don't have to install anything like databases, stuff like that, or getting updates or whatever, right? Or getting repos. That's it. I can do kubectl, get nodes, wait for it. Wait, I have to go to sudo. Yeah, now kubectl, get nodes, wait for it. Yeah, and it's ready. And you can see we have the control plane master, K3s ready for us, working. This is the version. That's awesome. Let's go back to the presentation. So that's how easy it is to install K3s. You don't have to be a highly skilled engineer in Kubernetes to get to get K3s installed on your machine. So let's go back to presentation, and I'm doing it like that. Okay, so we saw the command. That's great, and it was working for us. Sorry for the problems, but it's great. So now you can tell me, I know Kung Fu, right? I know Kung Fu, so just show me, right? So I just show you how I know Kung Fu, how I just installed the K3s. So what is the game plan? What is you actually came here to see? Because we still have time, and I'm going to do the live demo, and we have also time for questions. So what is the game plan? What we're going to show us next, So I'm going to show you what I actually planned here. I'm going to use GitLab to do kubectl deploy to a K3s machine, right? So I'm going to have GitLab on the cloud, gitlab.com, right, on the cloud, and it's going to deploy pods and services, right? It's going to deploy my CI/CD to K3s that's sitting inside Amazon, inside a private subnet, okay? So it's actually going to do kubectl deploy to that private subnet. So I'm actually providing access for a load balancer to get to that private subnet inside, because it's not available outside, only through the load balancer. So I publish the API of the K3s through the load balancer and have GitLab connect to it from the internet, right? I'm going to show you how exactly I did that, what variables I configured here, and what settings I did in the load balancer to make it work. I'm going to show it to you. I hope it will work. Cross my fingers, right? So we're going to see in a few bits the live demo. So I'm going to explain it like a person, because maybe not everyone understands what I did here. So GitLab will run his own pipeline to build a Docker file and upload it to its own registry, right? This is like the first step that it's going to do. Then it will run a section of deploy in the pipeline that will run crane command. I'm going to explain what crane is all about. Crane command that deploy the blog. I'm going to show you there is a blog repo that I'm deploying to K3s. So my application actually that I'm deploying to K3s is a blog website, okay, that I'm deploying to K3s. And just a sample, of course. I didn't develop it myself. It's written in Go, I think. So what is Crane? Crane is a nice little tool that you can get it from GitHub that instead of running kubectl apply -f, you can render templates and then pipe out the output to kubectl apply. This is what actually Crane is doing. Like maybe you want to change the tag of every time you want to deploy to Kubernetes, and you want to change the tag to be not latest, to be the commit, right? The commit ID from the GitLab. You want to make it sure that the tag of the image that you're going to deploy to Kubernetes is the commit ID. So Crane is actually rendering the YAML files, the template files, to do that. To instead of doing seds commands in Bash, you can use Crane tool to do that for you, right? It's a very easy tool. I'm going to show you exactly in the GitLab CI how I'm using Crane. So now that Crane can change lines to make it possible to deploy using the commit hash or the commit ID as image tag instead of the latest. So show me the pipeline. Okay, Lidor, show me exactly what you did. Okay, so this is going to be the pipeline. I'm going to show it to you on GitLab on live. Okay, so this is my pipeline. It has only two stages, like Docker build, Docker deploy, right? The deploy part and the build part are very separated stages, right? There's the stage for the build, the building the image, and the stage for deploy. I'm using another image to deploy, an image that I have on my Docker hub that GitLab is pulling in order to deploy that code that has Crane inside of it. So I'm going to show you the GitLab CI. I hope you're seeing it okay. We're going to see it on live because maybe it's too small, but this is the GitLab CI YAML file, and you have the Docker build and the Docker deploy stages, as you can see. And what you can see over here is I'm using Crane to render the CI commit short SHA to a file called rendered YAML. All right, and then I'm doing the kubectl apply. I can also use Crane to deploy. I didn't use it this time. I just used the Crane to render that template. I'm going to show it to you exactly how it's rendered. So this is the whole part of the deploy, tagging, the pushing to the registry, right? I'm going to see it on live. and this is the part of the build. I'm sorry, right? The part of the build, and this is the part of the deploy. So what I'm doing here, I'm actually configuring the kubeconfig of GitLab to know to which cluster to connect. Now, all of these are environment variables that GitLab puts inside the pipeline that I already defined them, right? I'm already defined them, and GitLab can put that variables inside. So let's see that. Let's see that. So let's do the live demo now. Okay, I hope, like I said, I also like to live dangerously. So let's hope everything will work. Let's see the pipeline first. So these are the pipeline. And now I'm showing you only the thing that passed, but a lot of things didn't pass. I'm going to show it to you. Okay, you see that a lot of tries that I didn't pass yet. And then I got to something that passed. Okay, it's part of the practice in doing it correctly. I did it 48 days ago to prepare the demo for you. And I'm gonna show you the YAML files and all the repo files and the environment variables, right? So this is the GitLab CI that we've seen in the presentation, exactly like I showed you, okay? And let's see about the environment variables, and also let's see about first about the registry, right? I have the container registry where it keeps all the image inside. Here we have the blog image, and you see all the tags inside. That you see 10 tags that I published 4 days ago, and this is the commit ID, right? This is the commit ID as a tag, right? So we can see that. You see that it's building correctly and it's storing it inside. So that's great. We also want to see the environment variables that inside settings. I'm going to CI/CD, and inside there, I'm not using any runners, by the way, because I'm doing remotely. The working with the API is remotely, and you can see that I'm using the GitLab token, a GitLab username. I'm using the kube API token, the kube host, which is actually the load balancer address. Let's look at it. Maybe here. You can see it's the load balancer address from Amazon, right? It's the load balancer address that gets us to K3s. That's what it's using. That's the kube host. The namespace where it's going to deploy, let's look at that, is named my app, right? So I'm going to deploy the application to my app namespace. And we have the token, which is another variable. It's a nice token, right? The token that I got from Kubernetes that you can do it yourself from the K3s. And we have the certificate, which is a file certificate that I also got from the K3s that help GitLab to actually authenticate through the API. And that's it. Okay, so I showed you that. We're gonna be really prepared for the live demo. And hold on. Okay. So what I'm doing actually here is I have the make file, and the make file actually doing the compose build, the compose app, right? That's what it's running. So let's go back. We have the Docker compose, right? The Docker compose is the Docker file that we are building and the ports, right? And what it's serving. And we also have here is the deployment YAML and the service YAML, the ERB file that Crane is using in order to put the commit short-SHA in the registry image, right? So this is the ERB part where the template is actually here, that GitLab will put its own variables over here, right? So this is the whole point that this Crane is using. And we have the service YAML, which is a nice service. I'm using Node port. I'm not using Ingress to get to the application from the outside. So that's what you see here. So that is great. Let's look a little bit about AWS and my setup over there. So I have the Linux Bastion, which we already talked about. This is Jambox that I'm connecting from. I also have K3s demo, which is Kubernetes which is K3s that I already set it up to work with GitLab, and everything should be set up over there. I'm going to connect to it to see what we have inside there, and 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 maybe delete the resources so we can deploy it all over again and see that it was working properly. So I have the security groups. You can see I have SSH only, EC2 ports for the node port, and traffic from the load balancer of the API K3s. I'm going to show you what I configured here. I'm actually configured 6443 port in order to connect from the load balancer, right? So from the load balancer, you can connect remotely to that host. That's the firewall settings that I did. So everything is working. It's supposed to be working okay. Let's go back to EC2. So we have instances, right? So let's look at the load balancer first. So this is the load balancer. I have two load balancer. I have one which is like classic load balancer, right? This is for the API, right? For the API, you see that it's in service, the K3s demo. So it means it's available, the API is available from that load balancer, and we'll get to the endpoint instance, which is great. And we also have the blog, which will go from the outside and see from the browser to get to that blog to see the application, right? So we have a security group. Let's look at the security group of the blog. So the security group should have access anywhere. So maybe you from home want to connect to it from the port 80 and see the blog. That will work for you instead if you have the URL. So all you need is the URL in order to connect to the blog and look at it. So they have a listener, which is a target group called K3STG. So we go to the target group, and here what we should see is the target is the K3S that it's healthy and it's listening on port 3007, right? So that's okay. So everything's supposed to work. What else I can show you before I start? I don't think I have anything else. So we have a lot of time for questions. That's great. I think that we might have questions. Let's see if I didn't pass anything here. I think everything is supposed to go. Just my personal blog. You can enter it. You can go to the GitLab.com and look at the repo yourself. You can enter it. It's a public repo. Everyone can see it, right? Can see my commits and can see what I did over there, right? So I have the config YAML, which actually tells me what's going on in the Go, right? Because it's using Go, so it's gonna tell the website where it is my GitHub, where is my GitLab, my LinkedIn page for the blog, right? So this is for the blog, configuration for the blog. What else? I think that's it. I think we can build it. Okay, we can run the pipeline and see what's going on. Before that, we can connect it to the K3s demo, see what's over there, maybe delete stuff, because let's look at it now. If we're gonna look at the load balancer, I think it's answering, it will show us the website, and I want to delete the website before and then redeploy it with the GitLab. That's the whole point. So if I go here, yeah, the blog is working, and you can see the blog. It's very, very simple blog, right? I didn't write it, I just took it. That's why it's not presented properly. Okay, so this is working. We're gonna delete the resources, show you that it didn't work, and then run the GitLab pipeline, and then that will end our live demo, right? So okay, let's do that. And okay, so let's do that. Let's connect to the machine first. So this is the IP I need. I'm doing the same way that I did before, jump box, right? So I'm exiting that machine, getting out from there, going back to my Mac, and from here, I'm gonna jump box to the K3s demo, right? Connect to it. Wait. So this is my K3s demo. Let's see what's inside there. Kubectl works like magic. Get nodes, right? You can see that this is a node. It's 4 days ago. That's great. And let's see what kind of pods I have over there. Get pods -A, which means all the pods and all the namespace. You can see my blog site here. Okay, you can see that it's running. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete the deployment, and I'm going to delete the service also. I don't have to delete. I just want to show you that it works. I hope I think I have to put my app over there, right? So there's the blog side. I'm going to delete these. So let's delete the resource. I don't have to delete. Just nice. Of course, I can do a change, and that's it. But I want to show you how the GitLab is working, how the pipeline is working fine. So I'm going to delete the deployment. I'm going to also delete the service. So let's get the service, right? Get the service. Okay. So this is the service. It's a node port, right? So I don't have to delete that. That can stay okay because uh, because the port is like fixed, so it's okay. I can delete it and when we do the relaunch, when we do the next run of the pipeline, it will redeploy the service. So let's delete that also. I don't have to delete. It's okay. If I'm going to delete that, what will happen is that the the load balancer will say that it's not healthy anymore, right? There is no endpoint listening on that port on that 3007. So that's okay. Okay, so I might have to re-register the endpoint on the load balancer. That's okay also, right? So let's look at it. Let's see that the website is not okay. Nothing bad gateway that is expected because I just deleted everything, right? So there is nothing over there. We're gonna run the pipeline and see that it works. Also, what we can see here in the target groups of the load balancer is that it might get not healthy, right? I'm not talking about the K3s Kube API that is still healthy, that's supposed to be working okay in service. That's great, but the blog, the target group in the blogs are not okay. Okay, it's supposed to be not healthy because there are no ports anymore that listen on that node, right? So it's unhealthy, and that is okay. We might have to re-register, so remember that once after I run the pipeline. So let's run the pipeline. I can do commit, just another commit ID, and it will run automatically, or I can run the pipeline manually, whatever I want. Okay, to run manually, it go here and just one pipeline, right? If I want to do like another commit, let's do another commit, and then I want to have a new commit ID, which will be the new tag, right, for this one, right? So new file, like maybe do test file. Wait, cancel. Hold on. Test file .txt, and this is just commit demo to run the pipeline, right? That's it. Let's commit this. Yeah, can commit message like commit demo, right? Let's do that. Commit to master. That's okay. Commit changes, and now the pipeline is supposed to run. Let's look at it. That's how GitLab is working. Okay, and it's running 2 steps. First step is the build. That is great. So we put in my registry another build. So we're using the Docker executor to build inside all of the runner is actually running inside of a Docker, and it will build whatever I wanted to build, right? The Docker compose and everything, right? So let's look at it again. Maybe we'll see some input. Hold on. It's still launching. Take some time. We still have time. We don't have to worry. Everything is okay. Okay, let's look at the job. Have to refresh it a little bit, maybe. No. Go back to the pipeline, maybe. See that it's running. Docker build, yeah. Okay, we started, and what we see here in the log is that we started the build, right? So it cloned the code, everything is done properly. I'm going to find it. Okay, so here we are, Docker info. So it knows that one. It has the CI pre-clone script that's running echo GitLab token. And you can see that the token, right? Docker pull, to do Docker login to the registry of GitLab, right? And it's pulling, and Docker build, that's great. And yeah, Docker build, that's another build. And Docker tag, right? And Docker push. And that's what we see. And it pushed everything. The job succeeded. That's great. Let's go back to the pipeline. Let's go to the deploy. Now, the deploy is using, like I said, another image, okay, which use K3s deploy. I'm going to show it to you. It's on Docker Hub. It's on Docker Hub on my space. So you can use it, you can pull it and put it on your own space. It doesn't really matter. It just, K8s deploy. You see that? It's using my own image to deploy to Kubernetes because I have train installed over there, and it's doing the config once inside the pipeline, right? It's not pre-configured with the config to that API because I'm using variables to do it generic and in a standard way, right? I want to do everything decoupled. I don't want to make the config inside the image. I want it to be decoupled. That's the whole point. So you can see job succeeded and the deployment succeeded, and that's and we're going to see the blog in a bit. So the pipeline went well. The demo actually, I hope, succeeded. Okay, everything is okay. I have the commit demo. This is the pipeline. This is the commit ID. So it means that I have a new image in the container registry, right? Under the root image, we can see in the blog, we have something that we published 2 minutes ago, and this is this. So this is supposed to be on my K3s. We're going to see that in a bit. So let's see if something works here. Yeah, it works. I didn't have to re-register. That's great. So the demo actually succeeded, and it's working. Let's see what's going on over here and see that everything is working. And we have the service, right? We have the service, and we have the pods. Let's look at it. And we have the pods, and everything is okay. And maybe I can do describe deployment and show you which image it's actually using, right? So you can do it. You can run 100 of these on the K3s. K3s is running on T2 micro machine, so it's not a huge machine, right? It's on the free tier of AWS that I'm using in order to run the K3s. So I'm not using like huge machine over here. I'm just using the minimum of the lowest machine AWS can give me, right? So what we can see here is this is the deployment, and you can see which tag I'm using, right? So everything succeeded fine. Let's go back. Okay, I think we in the part of questions, right? We still have time, but if you have questions, now it's the time to hit the expert and ask me a question how I did it, and maybe you want to ask something else about K3s. Now is the time, and I will address the questions. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you rate me high, and so I will be invited next year. And don't forget to register to my workshop. It's a whole day training about Helm. It's really exciting also. And if you want to invite me to your company for training, I'll be mostly obliged to do that, and contact me directly, of course.
All right, thank you, Lidor. Definitely plenty to soak in for people there. Hopefully, you all learned a few things. Looks like it's Q&A time, so if you've got any questions, now's the time to go into that tab and type them out. We've already got a few prepped. The first one comes from Edvinus, who says, when comparing K3s and Minikube, how does K3s fare? Like, why is it better, and why should you pick it over Minikube?
Okay, great question, Atina. I really love you that you're answering that question. To answer that question, it's something that I expected someone to ask. Minikube is for developers tool to experience Kubernetes in his own computer or in a virtual machine. K3s is a fully fledged Kubernetes cluster Minikube is not clustered, right? Minikube can only run standalone on a VM or inside your laptop, right? In K3s, I can run anywhere. I can run Raspberry. I can run it, and you have fully fledged Kubernetes cluster. Like, mean, if you wanna use Ingress, you can use Ingress. If you wanna use like public services like a node port, you do that. In Minikube, it does it all by itself with the Minikube commands. So it's kind of different the way DevOps experience Kubernetes with Minikube and the way you experience Kubernetes with K3s. So I hope I answer your questions. So K3s is more lightweight than Minikube, more lightweight. Like you install it on very minimum um, specs of hardware requirements uh, to enjoy Kubernetes, but it's not develop friendly like Minikube, like Minikube is. You still have to write your own manifest and write your own YAMLs to make it work.
Okay. Well, it looks like Venus is very enthusiastic with the questions. Or another one from them. If K3s is being created only with one command line, how can we ensure configuration of a cluster using code, like K3s version, node count, etc.?
Okay, so that's a good question. Once you created once you launch the K3s one command line, and you have the K3s cluster, just one node ready, you can join other nodes. The whole setup and configuration goes after you launch the first one. It doesn't set bootstrap together like OpenShift, like kubeadm that you have to bootstrap all the master together. You can join other nodes afterwards, after the fact, after you launch the first one. So you do have other setups of K3s that are more complex, that's not just one command liner. But just to get you started and get you familiarized with K3s lightweight Kubernetes, you do want to launch the first command, launch the cluster, then join other nodes. It's more easy that way instead of bootstrapping everything together, right? And you can still use automation tool to do that. You don't have to do that manually. So I hope I answered the question. There's a lot of online documentation out there, a lot of kind of various setups of K3s out there. I just showed you a script to install it in the more official way. You don't have to use that. You can use other commands to install K3s with more setup, more advanced setup that you want, right? So I hope I answered that question also.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like Venus is actually constantly picking your brain. It looks like they might have to sign up to your class at this rate. Venus, third question from them. Are the environment variables for the pipeline global? Wouldn't it be a problem when having more than one GitLab CI/CD pipeline?
They are not global. They are part of the repo, so it's only for the repo, right? It's the settings for the repo for the project. They are not globally inside all of GitLab. If you want global variables, there is a way to do that. Okay, I'm not a master on GitLab. There is a way to set up global variables that works on all of the pipelines, all of the repos, but that's not what I did here. What I did here is variable only the settings for that pipeline, for that repo, for that project. Yeah, but that means that if you want to use if you want to use other same variables on on the same repo, that might be a conflict. That's right. That is correct. But if you want to use global variables, that's not a conflict because what overrides is the settings of the project. So it's override global variables, and you don't have conflict on that.
Okay. Well, I think that's about all we have time for. Just to wrap up, though, of course, this man is very knowledgeable. If you want to hear more from him, I believe, Lidor, you have a workshop coming up in a few days,
Yeah,
right?
on Monday. So
Yeah.
don't forget to sign up. And it's very excited, and it's a whole day training.
Mhm. Well, folks, we're going to wrap it up here. That's another session out of the way. And a lunch break now ahead of us, so you can go get yourself some food. And when you return, we're going to move into the next talk, which will be with Katarzyna, I believe it is. Tail your logs with tailing sidecar operators. All that to look forward to. Thank you, Lidor. It has been a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll see you all in the next